The mind is ready, the body wants to go. I'm pumped for it. I was throwing myself properly into the deep end. Things could get real tough, and things got real tough. Okay, so having done ultras in my early years, I've had an ultra marathon itch that I've wanted to scratch. And even though I've been doing a lot of road races, I think because of my history and because of a lot of the VO2 max work that I've done in the past, the VO2 max tests that I've done in the past, they all suggest that I'm built for the ultra running scene. So ultimately, I think that's where my true strengths lie. However, I haven't done that specific training. When this opportunity came about, what happened was I'm a coach for Adidas runners, and one of my key contact person at Adidas runners contacted me and said, Wings for Life, I don't know if you know about the race, and I was well aware of the race. And he said, this year Adidas is partnering up with Red Bull as a sponsor. We're going to sponsor it this year and most likely for a few years going forward. And instead of getting our pros to race in this event, we want some of our community runners, call it our performance community runners, to take place and see what you can do and compete. So I thought about it for a few days and I thought, you know what, I've been training for Manchester Marathon, which is flat and fast, and I ran 2:22 there. A week later, I did London Marathon in 2:43 and it felt super comfortable. And I thought, you know what, I've built a really good base. What's the worst that can happen? It was an opportunity for me to scratch this ultra itch. So I got back to Adidas runners and said, put me in, life's too short not to race. Wings for life, let's wing it. But I knew at the same time I was throwing myself in the deep end, because when it comes to ultra training, like, yes, you can wing a track race and a 5K and a 10K half marathon, even sometimes not really marathon, but anything over the marathon distance, if you haven't done that specific training, you can fall severely short. And once I committed, I didn't even know what the Munich route was like. I then got sent the graph, and it's net uphill by quite a long way, especially after the 35K mark. It's very hilly towards the end. Temperatures looked like it was going to be 20 degrees, and I hadn't really gone over the marathon distance. So my training in the build up to this was, I'd done 2 36Ks, I'd done 2 marathons. I hadn't really done much heel training, even though heels are always a crucial part of training. Even for flatter races, I'd kind of neglected heels a little bit to focus on speed work, which was naughty of me and should be a part of my training and currently is. All those things considered, like, the mind is ready, the body wants to go, I'm pumped for it, I'm in a way built for ultras. I knew that I was throwing myself properly into the deep end and that things could get real tough, and things got real tough. Okay, so heading to the start village. It's about an hour to go. Got to drop the bag off. Peace out, Leonardo. You've been real. I mean, the plan today is sort of 340 per kilometer pace and go for as long as possible into uncharted territory. It should in theory feel comfortable for a large portion. And then we'll take it from there. Come on. You know what? My mindset for this is just get to the marathon mark at 340 per K pace. And from there, you know, you really focus. You probably got about 20 Ks left. You can find something in that last 20. The problem with this route is that I think the driver of the car must have made this route, because after 35 Ks, you just start climbing and climbing and climbing. It's net uphill into wind, 20 degrees. So conditions aren't ideal for fast running, but at the same time, I don't want to talk myself out of it. Let's give this a good go. Come on. And I'm joined here by the Romanian GOAT, Alex. 2:13 marathoner, 64 half marathoner, 50K champion for Romania. Oh my word. I'm going to try and keep up with this today. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm ready. So let's go.
You ready?
Yeah.
Recently did Boston in that heat 2:16.
2:16, yep.
Has the legs recovered?
No, I'm okay. Maybe after Wings for Life, maybe I need a beer, a big beer.
Okay. Yes, for sure. We deserve one. Cool. Let's go get our numbers.
Let's go.
So let me just explain a little bit about how the Wings for Life event works if you don't know about it. So basically you can do it from anywhere in the world, and the concept is you start the race and you run until the car catches you. So how you can do it anywhere in the world is there's an app. You all have to start at the same time, which was 1 p.m. Munich time. And once you start, you keep going. And basically, if you're not at one of the flagship events, then the app, and you're running according to the app, then the app will let you know once the car's caught you. Once the car's caught you, it registers your race number and you're out, or obviously tags you on the app and you're out. So there is about 9 or 10 locations worldwide where you can take part in this event. Munich obviously being one of them, Vienna, and there's quite a few else worldwide. And at these official events, that's where they actually have the car, and that's where the car actually catches you. So if you look at the scale of this race, it is absolutely massive. It's the biggest race in the world, and it's such an incredible concept, also such an incredible cause behind it. But there's, I think, 265,000 people did it worldwide, because you can do it from all over the world. It's so cool. I was running in Munich knowing that people are running all over the world, and you feel like you're in this together. So it's an amazing concept, and one I think that's just going to grow more and more going forward. Prizes wise, so there's not massive prizes, but first place overall for the winner, in male and female, you get to choose where you would like to compete in the following year's event. Okay, so time for me to relive this race experience with you. So at the start of the race, it was pretty cool. Everyone was wearing their Wings for Life, and it was like a sea of orange. Race vibes, awesome. 1 p.m. start time, not ideal. Yeah, you kind of wait around all day. You're like, when do you eat? Ate a big breakfast, ate lunch a little bit before. It was a weird time. The start, it actually started raining quite a bit, which was very, very welcome in my world. And we had a very good pack from early on. We thought we might, but we had about 11 or 12 people. We were speaking in and amongst each other, and we said around 337 to 340 per kilometer was what we were after. Through the first 10K, we went through in 35 high, averaging around 336 per kilometer. And I promise you, it's never felt that easy. And I had a moment running there when I thought, when I first started running for 5Ks, I couldn't sustain under 5 minute per K pace. And over 11 years of training and hard work, I finally got into a position where 337 per K for the first 10Ks feels like I could have had a conversation with you on the phone the whole way. So that was a pretty cool experience. I think having targeted 220 after 220, the average pace for that is 319 per K. So going off at 337 felt super, super comfy. Went through the half marathon in around just under 76, so 75 high, once again averaging 336, speaking in and amongst each other, like really comfortable. And I think the key to doing well in an ultra is that you have to feel comfortable that early on. I mean, you're only 21Ks in looking to do an ultra race. And at that stage, I thought, I'm feeling so comfortable now. Like, today's my day. Today I'm going to shoot the lights out and save the fireworks for the second half, but I'm well below threshold, feeling incredible. This could play out really, really, really well. Today's the day I need to take advantage. And then at about sort of 28Ks, it started getting even more windy. You run from point to point, so we ran from east to west, and unfortunately there was a headwind from west to east, and it was a bugger of a headwind. So that's where group running becomes important. So at around 28Ks, the group was around 10 people, and between 28 and 32, it sort of like civiled down to around 6 people. And at that stage, there were, it became a little bit tactical. I know a couple of the German local runners were throwing in surges. They obviously know the route very well, and they're prepared for this very, very well. And it sort of split the pack, and I think it's what that competition running was happening at that stage of the race. Then at 32Ks, you hit quite a bit of a hill when you go into a residential area. That's when sort of the residential area starts and the suburb running starts and countryside running starts, let's say. Within the surging for the 4Ks before that, I sort of felt like I wasn't as comfortable. I went from feeling super, super, super comfy to, I don't know if I'm feeling that comfortable anymore, but how could it have come so quickly? So anyways, this pull starts, and it's probably around 800 meters to a kilometer. And there was a pack of 7, I think, and the front 4 guys went off, and a gap appeared of probably about 2 meters, and I just couldn't close the gap. I thought if I sprint to try and catch up to the gap, I'm going to hit a massive wall. 2 meters grew to 5 meters, grew to 10 meters, and eventually that front pack was gone, and I was left by myself. And after that point, which is around 32Ks in, the wind probably picked up a little bit more, and then you really, really isolated, fighting a headwind and you've got a long way to go. So in my mind before the race, I wanted to get to at least probably 50, ideally around 60 Ks in. And I thought I'm actually just more than halfway through that mark and I'm starting to hit a wall. Like things could get scary tough from here on in. Carried on going. At about 35 Ks in, I knew I was like, today is going to be super, super, super tough, but we're not quitters. Let's just give it our all and see where we end up. So carried on grinding. I think from 36 Ks onwards, I couldn't see anyone in front of me for very long, and I couldn't see anyone behind me. So we went through the marathon mark in 2:38, which is still very respectable, obviously. And I thought, okay, it's 42 Ks. Let's at least make it to 50. Like 50 for me is respectable. We can take it as it comes. You know, you go through so many phases. In shorter distance races, your mind races and you fight off those demons. In ultras, the same thing happens, except you've got more time to fight those demons and you go through even more phases. So got to the 45K mark, and at that point, I think things really started to take a turn for the worst. I wasn't feeling great. My pace was slowing, the heels were increasing, and my mind expectation wasn't matching up to the physical shape that I was in that day. And that's always a tricky situation when that happens. For the next K or two, they were taking so long to come. It was at that stage where you start looking very much into the distance for the next kilometer mark to come. Eventually you see it and you're like, amazing. Okay, cool. You run forever and then you can't even see the next kilometer mark because they're just so few and far between. And then at around probably 48 Ks, I was running in the road and I really started to feel like I was getting into a bad place. You know, sun was baking you and I started veering off to the side and I found myself running into the bushes a little bit. At that stage, I thought, this is actually potentially now very dangerous. I hadn't had these thoughts since I've run in my comments days because I haven't, you know, gone back into the ultra worlds, but wow, it brought back memories. And then I started thinking about my family, my kids, my wife. This is just not a very good situation. And what am I going to gain? I'm not competing for the win, but let's just make it to a respectable 50K. So that's where I decided 50Ks is exactly where I want to get to. But the problem with this race is that it's the most beautiful race in concept, but where you finish, so I finished at 50Ks, it was on the side of a road where there was a barrier which was uncomfortable to sit on, and the other side was thorn bushes. So I'd finished and I was in my running kit and I was just sitting on the side of the road waiting, like dying and waiting. After about 15-20 minutes, the tag car came and tagged me out, obviously. And then you wait about another 20 to 25 minutes and the catch car comes. So you'd been sitting on the side of the road for around 45 minutes. You jump in the catch car and then the catch car still goes along the route to sweep up all the other runners. So I was at the 50K mark. It goes to the 75 kilometer mark. You sweep up the runners. At that point, you're 75 kilometers away from the stadium where you started. So then you've got to come all the way back. Oh my word. And then you get to the stadium. The worst part is that they drop you off and you have to walk up all these stairs outside the stadium to get out. And eventually I got to my bag probably about 3 or 4 hours later after I'd finished and just thought, wow, what an experience. What a day.
Shoo-wee. You know what? I knew it would be tough. I probably didn't think it would be that tough. Wow. But what can I expect? You know, it was a spontaneous yes. And it reminded me that unless you train for something properly, then you're going to struggle. So yeah, distance not a problem. Running quick at that distance, quite tricky. Made it to a respectable 50 kilometers at the end, at around 3:54 per K pace overall. So yeah, struggle city towards the end, but such a big humbler. And you know, I'm proud that I didn't give up at any point. I thought at that stage, like things were starting to get a bit physically dangerous, and you know, it's not like there's massive crew cars all around. So I thought I don't want to be washed up into the countryside here in Munich. So yeah, made the sensible call to just call it at 50 and live to fight another day. But highly recommend. What an event. Like the vibes were incredible. What an experience. But it's also reminded me that I'm not ready for comrades, not ready to make a return there just yet. You have to train properly if you want to, you know, compete and perform well. And yeah, I'm just not mentally, or life isn't allowing me to sort of designate that time towards that. We got to break 2:21 in the marathon. But yeah, Munich, you were awesome. Boom, shakalaka. Arrived bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, leaving here with my tail between the legs. Back to London we go. Give me your name, your city, and how far you went.
So Michel, Munich, and 56.
4th overall in Munich.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Alex from Bucharest, 59.
third overall.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Racing half marathon next week.
You know what? If I could go back in time, would I do it? Yes, 100%. I think, like I said, life's too short to not throw yourself in the deep end sometime. But if I had to do it again, I would want to train properly for it. I am a bit disappointed, but what can I expect? And I would love to just go back and almost train properly and redeem myself with enough notice. But yeah, I'd just like to thank Adidas runners for the opportunity. I want to congratulate all the 265,000 worldwide runners that did this event. What an event it was. If you managed to watch the coverage, it's very cool. They get all the different locations on TV and make it like one giant race. Yeah, I only see it growing bigger and bigger. I know over 8 million euros was raised for spinal cord research, which is incredible. I know my Adidas runners team managed to raise over 50 million euros, which is just mind-blowing. So that's awesome. What a concept, what a race. I couldn't believe how quickly I recovered. The next day I was okay to run, which was weird because I was in such a bad place at the end. I thought this is going to take very long to recover, but maybe because I hadn't done the training, I wasn't able to fully deplete and empty my tank, which is not necessarily a bad thing in the bigger scheme of things of my goals this year. So the plan going forward, Operation Speed has well and truly started. I am on an absolute mission to try and get my speed up over the next 10 weeks. I'll do a video on all this shortly, but just thought I'd give you a quick heads up. Speed is where we're at. And then from there, we pivot off and target Berlin Marathon. Hope you enjoyed this video. Catch you for the next one. Let's go.